Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. Today we are heading all the way over to Japan to check out a really sweet modern deck. This is 4-Color Warriors by Tomomizu Takuya. So congrats to Tomomizu on a really sweet deck. A quick reminder before we break down 4-Color Warriors, if you enjoy this deck and want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So 4-Color Warriors is a tribal aggro deck. And you might be wondering, why in the world, out of all the tribes, all the aggro decks in Modern, why would I pick up Warriors of all things? Well, kind of the payoff cards for being Warriors are the ones we're looking at right now. So Bramblewood Paragon and Chief of the Edge are 2-mana lords. Maybe not traditional 2-mana lords, they are a little bit odd, but they're pretty powerful. So Bramblewood Paragon gives your other warriors a +1/+1 counter when they enter the battlefield, and gives creatures with +1/+1 counters trample. So it's essentially a 2-mana lord that pumps your team and gives them trample, but you gotta have it on the battlefield first. Unlike a Lord of Atlantis, you can't play out all your warriors and play a Bramblewood Paragon to pump them up. You gotta play in the opposite direction, so it's kind of the downside to it, but giving things +1/+1 and trample is super powerful on a 2-drop. Chief of the Edge, the upside is it's a 3/2, so it has more power than most 2-mana lords, but it only boosts power and not toughness, so it helps your creatures be more aggressive, but doesn't necessarily help them block and play defense or survive combat. Airshyn Foremost, on the other hand, isn't really a lord, but it has double strike, and it gives a warrior double strike when it enters the battlefield or attacks, so it's got some nice synergy with the lords. Trample and +1/+1 counters, or +1/+0, allows for you to hit for a ton of damage with double strike, because even if your opponent blocks, you get to trample through for a lot of damage. Then the deck has a ton of 1-drops, 12 different 1-drops. They all have different pluses and minuses, so the good news is they all have at least 2 power, which is where you want to be with aggressive tribal 1-drops. Bloodstone Champion, downside is it can't block, which can be kind of annoying. The upside is it's really hard to kill because Raid allows you to keep getting it back from the graveyard. So you pump it up with your Bramblewood Paragons, give it double strike, you're kind of free just to slam it in on offense, and even if it dies, that's okay because you can just get it back with Raid. Mardu Woe Reaper lets you hate on the graveyard and maybe gain you a little bit of life to stay alive to swing the race. And then Wild Nacatl is just the most above the curve 1-drop probably ever printed as a 3/3 for 1 mana. And then the rest of the warriors, a little odd. Mardu Strike Leader wasn't even really good enough for standard, but we're going to give it a shot in modern. It does make warrior tokens, and you can dash it, so in the late game it can be good on the empty board. And then Qasali Ambusher, I have no idea. It has flash sometimes if you have a forest in a plains and a creature is attacking you, so it can kind of sneak in and eat a Delver of Secrets, I guess. But I'm not really sure why Qasali Ambusher is in the deck. There's also one non-warrior creature in Eldrazi Displacer. No real combos here, more just a value displacer. Blink your opponent's blockers, blink one of your creatures to save it from a removal spell. And then holding everything together is Collected Company, so taking advantage of the fact the deck has a massive 30 creatures, so although you're never guaranteed to hit 2 with Collected Company, you're likely going to hit 2 in this deck. The rest of the non-land cards in the main deck, yeah, a couple Mutagenic Growths and then some Dismembers. As far as the mana base, a bunch of 5-color lands in Cavern and Mana Confluence, some fetch lands, and then a whole bunch of shocks of different varieties, and a single plane, so keep an eye out for Blood Moon, it'll get you with this deck. In the sideboard, we got some Artifact Hate, then we have some Graveyard Hate, then we have some Spell Hate. They're a little different. Thalia makes them cost more. Spellskite can steal stuff, great against Infect and Burn. Then some non-creature hate, I guess. Thoughtseize can hit creatures too, of course, disrupt your opponent. Pithing Needle shuts down Planeswalkers, Oblivion Stones, and the like. And then some creature removal. Disfigure, awesome on turn 1 against the Birds of Paradise, turn 2 against the Dark Confidant, and Hallowed Moonlight, great in the Collected Company mirror, plus it can work against Through the Breach, cards like that as well. And then just a single Sorin Lord of Innistrad, I'm assuming for more controlling matchups, pumps your team, repeatable token generator. So that is 4-Color Warriors for Modern. Deck looks pretty sweet. Anyway, it's been our Instant Deck Tech for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will talk to you soon.